An older man is publicly humiliated at a grocery self-checkout when a guard forces him to empty his tote on the floor. The stranger steps in, pays for his groceries, waits to get the write-up cleared, and even gives him a ride home, costing herself a parking ticket. The encounter quietly reveals his hidden caregiving and sparks small changes around them without grand speeches. Before we get started, tap like, share, and subscribe to join the journey. And tell me, where in the world are you watching? Drop your country below. I love seeing the global trail of these stories. He moved slow, pushing a half-full cart into the self-checkout glow. Fluorescents buzzed like summer bugs trapped in a jar. A pop song tried to be cheerful and failed. The man had a list on a folded index card: soup, eggs, bread, coffee, apples. His coat was brown and thin at the elbows. His laces were grey, tied in uneven knots. He parked his cart at a machine and set his canvas tote in the bagging area like it was an old friend. He touched the screen with careful fingers. Soup first. The can gave a little clink. He found the barcode by feel. He scanned. The machine chirped. The machine barked. Unexpected item in the bagging area, it said. He lifted the can and scanned again. The same bark. He looked at the green weight square, like it might be hiding a trick. He glanced around. The line behind him was already 3 deep. A teenager in a black hoodie had his phone up. A woman with a crying toddler swayed in place, eyes flat with tired. The man tried one more time, slower now. Bark. A security guard in a black jacket stepped in. "Sir," the guard said, "you can't place items without a scan." "I did scan it," the man said. His voice sounded like dry leaves. The guard looked at the screen. No soup listed. He crossed his arms and nodded to the cart. The man felt heat crawl up his neck. "Policy," the guard said. "We got a loss prevention issue here." Someone in line sighed loud. Someone else said, "Come on." They made him empty his canvas tote. He set things out one by one. Bread, a dozen eggs. Store coffee in a blue can. The apples rolled when he set them down. One hit the floor and kept going. A small red planet spinning away under the machine. The teenager filming swung to follow it, like this was a show. The man leaned down too fast and braced a hand on the machine to catch his balance. His other hand shook as he chased the apple with his shoe. He caught it by the bruised side and held it like it might say sorry. "We can ring you up at the desk," the guard said, voice flat. "But we gotta write this up. If it happens again, you get a ban." The man nodded. His face had that drained look of someone who wants to be smaller than the fluorescent light allows. The woman in the paint-splotched hoodie stepped forward. She had a messy bun and sneakers with paint freckles. Keys hung from a carabiner on her belt loop. She said, "I saw him scan it. This scale freaks out." "Ma'am," said the guard, "this doesn't involve you." "It does if I'm in line," she said. Her tone was steady. She moved to the screen without touching it. She spoke like she was pointing to a map. "He scanned here." It beeped. Then it threw the weight error. It does that with soup when the bag touches the side. The cashier at the attendant podium looked over. She was young with a nose ring and a paper name tag bent at the corner. She looked like this was the last shift of a long week. The woman in the hoodie met her eye. "I can cover it," she said. Not loud, not saintly, just like she was buying gum. The guard lifted his palms. "It's not only the money." She told the cashier to put it on hers. The cashier came over with a little key and cleared the error. The woman pulled out a card with paint on the edges and tapped. She looked at the guard. "Please don't write him up for a machine being moody," she said. "That's not fair. Manager's going to want a note," the guard said. He didn't sound as sure now. "Then, let's wait," she said. The throat moved when she swallowed, but she didn't step back. She checked her phone. The time flicked to 7:12. Somewhere outside, a parking meter blinked past its grace. They waited. People shuffled. The teenager lowered his phone partway. The cashier muttered, "Sorry about this," under her breath to the man. A manager came, hair in a tight bun. The woman in the hoodie explained. Simple, clean, no extra words. The manager sighed, looked at the feed, and nodded. "Okay, no write-up." "The scale has been touchy," she said to the guard. The alarm went quiet, like someone closed a window. Sound came back as small things. The toddler's soft hiccups. The beep of other lanes, now just beeps. The teenager bent, picked up the runaway apple, wiped it on his sleeve, and set it gently by the man's hand. "Sorry," he said, almost to his shoes. The man nodded, eyes shiny but clear. "Thank you," he said to the woman. He said it like a person tries a new key in an old lock. They bagged in silence and walked toward the sliding doors. Outside, wet cold air hit hard. The parking lot was silver with early winter wet. A yellow lot's light buzzed and attracted every moth in the county. The woman's hatchback waited under a sign that said 15 minutes. The meter blinked done. "Do you need a ride?" she asked, before she could decide not to. He held the bag like it was more than food. "I live close," he said. 2 blocks. "But the bus is slow now." She opened the hatch and tucked his bag into a crate full of bungee cords and drop cloths. "Get in," she said. He got in like people do when they're not sure they're allowed. In the car, the man held the paper bag like it might tear. She turned the heat up all the way. The vents rattled. He looked at the dashboard, at the little chip in the windshield shaped like a star. She said, "You okay?" He nodded. "My wife likes the chicken noodle," he said. "She eats better when it's warm and salty." He watched his hands. "Someday she thinks we're still in Ohio." He said it light, like weather. She kept her eyes on the road. The wipers shushed. He said, "I used to fix clocks. Not the fancy kind. The kind in kitchens that forget they're slow." At the curb of a low brick building, he pointed to a second-floor window. Light behind a thin curtain. The kind of clean that means someone did their best. He said, "That one." He shifted like his knees hurt. She got out and lifted the bag for him. In the stairwell, the air was heavy and smelled like old paint. The rail was cold metal. On the second-floor landing, a cat watched from a cracked door down the hall. He unlocked his door with 2 keys and a little laugh at his own hands. "You don't have to come in," he said, but the door opened anyway. The apartment was small and tidy. The fridge had magnets from places that were a long way away now. A photo of a younger two stood by a plant that had seen better months. Pill bottles sat in a neat line like chess pieces at attention. He set the bag on the counter. "Thank you," he said again. He pulled a few bills from his wallet, ones folded into a soft square. "Please," he said. "Let me keep it," she said. "Use it for the next time the scale forgets what a can is." He smiled at that. He touched the can like it was someone's hand. "If you ever have a chair that wobbles," he said, "you tell me. I still know how to tighten a leg." She laughed. "I might take you up on that." He walked her back to the door. On the sidewalk, the air bit her teeth. She walked to her car and saw the envelope under her wiper. Yellow like a warning vest. She pulled it free. The fine was a chunk of money and a little insult. She let out a slow breath. The lot light hummed on. On the ride home, her here and now felt strange. She passed 3 diners, all with the same red neon coffee cup steaming into the night. Her own apartment smelled like bleach and wet dog hair, even though she had no dog. She set her groceries down and checked her phone. A friend had texted a meme. The longer she looked, the less it mattered. In the following days, little shifts showed up. At the store, the guard printed a small paper sign and taped it near the self-checkout scales. "Place items gently. Scales are sensitive. Ask for help." He started saying, "Let me ring you" at a staffed lane to people whose hands shook. The cashier moved her stool closer. When an older woman flinched at a beep, she slid over and scanned the item herself. She said, "These machines are fussy, not you." The teenager with the phone came in again with a hoodie up against the cold. He stopped filming things that hurt to watch. He carried a case of water for someone out to their car, cheeks red like a confession he didn't want to make aloud. The woman in the paint-splotched hoodie tucked a $20 grocery gift card in her wallet and forgot it there on purpose. One afternoon, the college kid in line behind her was short and started patting every pocket he had. She said, "I got it," and it felt like picking up a dropped glove. She called her brother and talked about their mother without using old fights as punctuation. She stopped to hold the lobby door for the man from 2 floors down who always smelled like sawdust. She left quarters at the laundromat on a scratch dryer so nobody had to dig under car seats. She saw the man again once. He was in the hardware store, in a red vest that didn't quite fit his shoulders. He was explaining sandpaper grits to a woman with a lamp. He looked up and saw her. He lifted a hand. The clock behind him ticked in a way that sounded honest. It wasn't a big thing, as she told herself days later. There was no soundtrack, no speech, just a bag that felt lighter when 2 hands carried it instead of one, a weight that someone shared. A little cost, a little time, a little risk, and a lot of relief that didn't ask to be named. When she thought of that night, she remembered the sound the alarm made when it stopped, the way the air changed, how people looked at each other like we all remembered we know how. A week later, it snowed for real. She stirred soup on her own stove and thought about scales and hands and weights that don't show up on screens. Across town, a second-floor window glowed soft. In a small kitchen, 2 bowls of chicken noodles steamed under a yellow light.